Ladies and gents, we have got a massive transfer story coming out from Sami Mokbel regarding the future of Eberechi Eze. We're also talking Martinelli and Trossard. Are they good enough for the left wing position of Arsenal Football Club? We're also going to break down, because the reaction from some Arsenal fans, in my opinion, is a little bit over the top. Arsenal didn't have some of their new signings. Zubimendi, Gyökeres was only given 13 minutes, and I'm seeing people call him Yok Lukaku. Crazy names about one of the best goal scorers last season who played 13 minutes against a very strong low block. We've got to get into a lot. Eberechi Eze, Rafa Leao, Rodrygo. One of those, as a minimum, is what Arsenal require to go on next season and really kick on. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Please make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments. We've got another video coming out later as well regarding Liverpool. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button as well. We are less than 140 away now from 70k. But I want to start by talking about Arsenal's creativity. And I said this towards the end of last season on many Arsenal match reactions, that in my personal opinion, Arsenal are crying out for a creative midfielder. And people were like, why? You know, Arsenal fans used to say to me, but they've got Wanyery, they've got Odegaard. When it comes down to playing a low block, Arsenal struggle. This isn't anything new. This isn't anything, we're not talking about groundbreaking science here. They just struggle to break down a low block. And if you go back for a lot of Arsenal's games last season, some of their draws, for instance, drawing against Fulham, drawing against Brighton, drawing against, towards the very end of the season, drawing against Manchester United or whatever a game it might have been, it's not been good enough from Arsenal's perspective on an attacking creativity sort of stance. They drew to Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa. At the end of the season, they scraped past Fulham, but also drew to Everton. They drew to Brentford. They drew to Crystal Palace. They lost to Bournemouth. They need someone who can get the ball in the middle of the park, drive at a defence, and create a goal-scoring opportunity. Now, Odegaard last season had huge problems. Was he good enough? For me, looking at what Arsenal need to win a league, I think he deserved some criticism. Some of the criticism I saw was massively over the top. Wanyery coming at times looked a breath of fresh air. Now Arsenal have got Max Dowman. What I think Arsenal need is Eberechi Eze. And it pains me to say this because he's one of our favourite players in the Premier League. And Sami Mokbel has come out with some news that no one really knew about regarding his release clause. Now, for me, if Arsenal bring in Eberechi Eze, I believe you can play a system in which in possession, you essentially have 2 8s with Zubimendi or Reiss, or you can play a system where you've got Reiss, Zubimendi, Odegaard, and Eze out on the left, because that left-hand side needs major surgery. But we're going to get into Sami Mokbel's tweet. Make sure you go down, drop a like, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Now, Eberechi Eze's release clause is rumoured £68 million. Now, Sami Mokbel is a very credible journalist, works at the BBC, has come out and said Crystal Palace forward Eberechi Eze's release clause expires 14 days before the start of the season, so tomorrow. From then, interested parties must enter into a negotiation. From yesterday, how Eze's future is looking. So reportedly, Eberechi Eze has told his friends and his family that he will be an Arsenal player. Now, why that is good news for Arsenal is they may be able to get that fee down at less than £68 million. if Eberechi Eze forces the move, if Eberechi Eze wants the move, it could happen for a lot less than £68 million. Arsenal press has come out saying Andrea Berta's immediately on the phone to Eberechi Eze's agent after today's match. He only wants Arsenal. Now, I think this deal will happen. I think this deal will happen very, very soon. Sami Mokbel is a very, very, very credible journalist. Hand of Arsenal said a few days ago that his understanding is that there has been informal dialogue between Arsenal and Crystal Palace for the transfer of Eze very, very recently. The player is clear. Arsenal is his dream choice. He's can't feel optimistic as it stands. Some sources have suggested the release clause is technical and required to be paid in a set frame 2 years. This is also confidential. That can only can't entirely be sure. Clubs prefer interested parties approached by the club directly to discuss things with honour and dignity. Now, Crystal Palace are a very, very good selling club. They're very good at maximising the amount of money they get for some of their talent. But Arsenal aren't in a position now because if Chelsea, if Tottenham, if City, if 3 or 4 clubs become interested, it's going to be a lot more harder for Arsenal to sign Eberechi Eze. Now, I do think he will be an Arsenal player, and I do think it's a matter of time. But for me, I personally believe that looking at the creativity, they're crying out for someone of Eberechi Eze's level. Now, we have to talk about that left wing today because it was so easy for Pedro Porro, and I'll be honest, Bukayo Saka's game wasn't that great either, but it was so easy for Pedro Porro to mark out Martinelli out of the game. Now, we know Leandro Trossard is heavily linked to the move away. There's Premier League clubs, there's foreign clubs after this guy. He got injured today. The one winger that come on the left-hand side that actually looked like he was going to do something was actually Reiss Nelson. Now, I look at it this way and think Madueke next season is going to be a better option than Martinelli and Trossard in terms of beating his man. Martinelli, I don't think beat Porro maximum maybe of twice today. He doesn't look like a player with confidence. He looks like a player that's a shadow of himself for the player that scored 15 league goals a few seasons ago. Leandro Trossard is looking at a move away. They have to look at 3 players. And the 3 players are Leao, Eze, and Rodrygo. These are familiar names with the entire Arsenal fan base. Now, another player that's been heavily linked is someone like Gordon. I don't necessarily think that's realistic as it stands, purely because when you look at the situation with Newcastle, I don't think that's happening. Now, the Guardian put out earlier, Crystal Palace have informed Arsenal they would pay 35 million up front to sign Eberechi Eze. The other 32.5 million can be paid in installments. That would make it 67.5 million. I don't think that's necessarily realistic as it stands. That is a lot of money to pay up front. That's a lot more than most teams pay up front for a player they want and player they need. But Arsenal aren't in a position where they can mess this one around. They have to go out there, categorically, have to go out there and bring someone in. Whoever that left wing is going to be, I imagine it will probably be, they'll probably bring Eze in and then decide on the Rodrygo Leao saga very, very soon. Now, the reaction, I think, is a little bit OTT. Arsenal have still got 2 games. Tottenham, we defended really well in a low block. We played to our strengths. Now, if Arsenal go and lose against Villarreal and Bilbao, but then they go and beat Man United, Leeds and Liverpool, no Arsenal fan is really going to give a shit. Villarreal, I think they beat, and Bilbao, I think they beat. But it's very important now that these 2 games, they actually show a really strong performance in the final third in terms of creating chances. They have to go out there and do that. In terms of the stats today, Arsenal only had 1 shot on target. I know Tottenham only had 1 shot on target, but we did hit the post twice. Van de Ven missed a sitter from about 4 yards out, and Richarlison missed a sitter from a few yards out. For me, Arsenal only created one big chance. I don't know why it says we only create one big chance, because we definitely didn't, unless you don't count hitting the post a big chance. But they have to do more than that. No if, buts, or maybes. They have to do more. But yeah, according to reports, Arsenal have agreed terms with Eberechi Eze, and they're saying that a deal will be decided at some point in the next few days. Arteta has said on Trossard's injury, he felt a little tweak. I think he tried to turn and push. He felt something muscular, so he's going to have to be assessed. That may potentially delay his transfer, which then could essentially delay Arsenal's transfer to bring a winger in. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. There will be a Liverpool video out on the channel later regarding Alexander Isak. And there will be a Chelsea video coming out first thing in the morning. But make sure you enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all soon. I'm out.